Shem, is this an inquisition or is this an interview?
It is an interview, and I'm asking, because for the sake of Nigerians who are watching at home, they need to get the point one after the other. And there's a reason why we need to take it one up. Go ahead first.
That's if you allow me to make the point.
Go ahead, Mr. Noble.
The first thing is that this budget of 6 trillion, in simple terms of numbers, is the highest we have ever had since independence. And you are claiming we don't have revenue. And you don't see any paradox that when you don't have revenue is when you have the highest budget figure. You have not seen any paradox. Please, these things are simple. It's not because I belong to the opposition. I didn't write the budget. You heard about padding. What did you not hear of? You heard about stealing budget. You heard about missing budget. You heard about revision of the budget. You heard about representation of the budget. What have you heard? Which scandal have you not heard in these 11 months? So don't say that. It is very simple. We are here to play our role. You have invited us. Thank you very much. Let us play our role. This is what is wrong with that budget. If you're talking about a way forward is the first thing. If you must borrow for either development or for projects that can pay off the debt. That is the first universal macroeconomic principle on debt management. Now, you invert it in a very perverse manner. And then you borrow about 40% and you allocate only 30% to capital projects. The difference, you are plugging to the same recurrent that even your own Oshomole has advised you to cut down. Is Oshomole in opposition? Why can't we accept basic universal truth and principles? Why must everything be colored with politics? Do I want Nigeria to make progress? Definitely, much more than you do.
From the details of the 2015 and 2016 budget, is there a reduction in the recurrent expenditure?
You can claim that there is a reduction in the percentage, but in the numbers, there is none. There's an increase in the numbers. So, and why you can claim a reduction in percentage is because you have gone to borrow 2.2, so it's overbloated. So in reality, it is increasing instead of reducing, which is a perversity. It's an economic perversity.
Would you blame the government of the day that is presenting its first budget, changing the budgeting system for this current document that is not yet passed by the president or not yet assented to by the president?
The first thing I want to say is let's leave the superficialities. Let's deal with the fundamentals. This government is the greatest danger that has confronted Nigeria since independence.
Why?
This government is very, very divisive. Divisive. This country is divided right now along religious and ethnic lines. You don't need that. This government is very deceitful.
What do you mean?
Good. I expected that from you.
No, that's,
you know what you need to do?
That's big. That's
yes. You know what you need to do? I have a document. That document is titled APC 2015 Election Manifesto. When you look at that document is signed by John Odigie Oyegu, National Chairman of APC. Have a copy. If Channels doesn't have a copy, I give you a copy.
I have a copy too.
I'm happy you have
the manifesto of the APC.
Go,
I do have.
Go and read it. After reading it, I can tell you some of the things that I need.
I have a copy. I've read it.
Very good.
Share with us what your concerns are.
For example, one of the points there, written and signed by National Chairman of APC, is 3 million new jobs every year. Now, what have we seen? Instead of 3 million new jobs, we have seen job losses in millions. One of those things is immediate recruitment of an extra 100,000 police officers. What have we seen? An announcement to recruit 10,000. What is in that document? Immediate increase of the salaries of all 5 security establishments, security organizations. Instead, what will we see? Debt, owing salaries and allowances, including those of soldiers in the Northeast. So, if that is not deceitful, what is deceitful? The NLC has publicly and officially accused the government of not keeping to its promises. Is that not deceitful? This government is very dictatorial.
In what sense?
Dictatorship.
In what sense?
Above the law.
In what sense?
Doing things that contradict the laws of Nigeria. Several. One example. The Nigerian Constitution is very clear about federal character. When the appointment was done, a national newspaper published that out of 37 appointments, front page, 30 were on the section, from one section of the country. What is that supposed to be? A national newspaper. I'm not the publisher of that newspaper. 30 out of the initial 37. Look at the security appointments. 6 major appointments were made. Anybody who is a nationalist and who is patriotic would have given one position to each of the geopolitical zones.
Even the one that are not statutorily put in the constitution.
No, it doesn't have to be statutorily. Because if you go to your state, you will see that governorship election, every party zones it. You don't become divisive. If you're leading a group, whether it is a local government, whether it's a state, it's not only about federal
even politics. At the detriment of performance and capabilities
friend,
of the individuals.
What you're saying is offensive. Because what you're saying is that some sections of the country do not have qualified manpower. That's false.
But again, when you're composing, you
can't say that.
You are a presidential candidate of your party, and I wonder if you will say that if you are composing a kitchen cabinet or the people who are going to work with you, you will bring strangers to your kitchen cabinet.
No. You're talking about political positions. You're talking about political positions. I talked about the security establishment. 6 major appointments were made. A reasonable thing. I don't want to go further. Because if I give further information that I have, which I can confirm, it might be incendiary. So I don't want to give that level of information. But the important thing is that what is in the public domain, 6 major security positions were announced. And the same sections of the country that are complaining that they are being excluded and marginalized, contrary to the Constitution of Nigeria, federal character is very clear. It's a constitutional requirement. It's not a political requirement. But Constitution.
But there are no breaches. Are there breaches there?
There are clear breaches. I just gave you one example. You say there are no breaches.
No, there are ones that are constitutional. They are the ones that are not mandatory by law, that are the discretion of the chief executive of the country.
The Constitution did not say you can do it here, you cannot do it here. The Constitution says this is how you run the federal government. Okay, if you think that it's not deliberately divisive, then I will challenge you with the statement of General Buhari when he went to abroad and he was interviewed. I can't remember on which medium, and he said, those who voted for me, 95% cannot expect the same treatment as those who voted for me. He should have resigned at that point. You don't make that kind of a statement because it not only violates the Constitution, it violates the oath of office, oath of allegiance, which he swore on the Quran, and he's a Muslim. So it also means that he has abused the Quran. If he swore on the Quran to treat everybody fairly, without fear of favor, and then he comes around and he goes abroad and he announces that he's going to treat some people differently, that's a violation of the oath of office. And you want us to clap for him?
Mr. Novo,
we are not going to clap for him. Sorry.
The APC, part of the agenda, part of the promises that was made by the presidential candidate then and with the president now, Muhammadu Buhari, was that it was going to fight corruption.
Yes.
A lot of people have said, praised how the corruption fight is gone. How would you appraise it?
The corruption fight is unfortunately a corruption of the dire need Nigeria has for an anti-corruption program. That's been corrupted because I can pretend that I'm giving some money to the poor to help them out when all I'm doing is a publicity stunt for politics. And then I invite Channels TV. I'm going to do some charity. When deep down, my motive is to advertise myself for politics. That's the kind of thing you have. The clear motive, because actions speak louder than words. You're going to ask me now, how do you know someone's motives? Actions speak louder than words. The clear motive is to target personal enemies and opposition elements. That is very clear.
Is that what is happening now? Is that what is playing out now?
That is clear now. That's very clear.
In what sense? In which of the cases now?
In almost all the cases. Let me give you an example. There are allegations in the public domain that the PDP financed its presidential election from the Office of the National Security Advisor. Those allegations are in the public domain. There are also allegations in the public domain that the APC was financed by APC governors. What is the difference? A tale of two thieves. Why is one thief going to be arrested and one thief not going to be arrested? That's a perversion of law in itself. You know why? The principle of law says everybody is equal before the law. So when you start having an animal farm, some are more equal than the other. That is a perversion.
Are you saying that the Buhari government is not investigating his own...
Clearly now.
Well, he has said that it will not spare, even if it finds any member of his party...
Rhetorics, please.
You think that's rhetoric?
Rhetorics. Show me one example. Now, let me tell you. You know, I like to cite APC people. But when you cite them, then the people who accuse us of being partisan, the same people who say opposition is not doing anything. When you do something, they say opposition is partisan. The same people. You just said opposition was not doing anything. Now, if you look at the statement made by APC senator from Kaduna, Sheikh Husani, he talked about the APC government playing politics with the anti-corruption and about people who belong to their own party not being investigated and prosecuted. Let me give you another example, which is a hard example. There were published allegations against the former governor of Lagos State. Published allegations on the official Lagos State government website. Was he ever invited? Was he ever arrested? Excuse me, sir. Let us just know. I must say this. Tomorrow, you will invite me to another interview and say, did you really say it? I must say this. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Nigerians think that the wrong leadership can deliver the right results. Let me see how that works out. The wrong leadership will not deliver the right results.
We are at a critical point in history. What would you suggest for the government of the day to do now to get Nigeria out of this quagmire? I'm
not going to suggest anything. You know why?
Why?
Because our position is in the public domain. For example, I was at the presidential debate. General Buhari did not show up. I presented a position on all the questions I was asked. That's number one. Prior to the presidential debate, on our website, our position was there. So anyone who's interested knows what we stand for and what we offer the Nigerian people to do. I came on this your program, Politics Today, for a presidential candidate interview. I presented the same things based on the questions you asked me. So anybody who's interested.
So you are not ready to tell Nigerians.
Hold on.
Because Nigerians are the ones that,
You're not listening. What I'm telling you.
I understand what you're saying, that you have made your positions known. But again, Nigerians want to be reminded about those positions.
On which of the issues?
Several issues.
That's what I'm saying. Which one do you want to hear?
Majorly, you touched on the issue of leadership, corruption fight. Issue. What would you suggest as a solution, a way forward?
You know, also, I am aware that the leadership of the National Conscience Party went to General Buhari after he was inaugurated and advised him on what to do. Apparently, actions speak louder than words. He didn't accept that advice. He was advised. He was advised that you need, let me now say what he was advised, that you need to unite Nigeria. Nigeria is a powerful, big country full of resources, human resources and all sorts of things. He was advised that get the country united so that we can bring in all our resources and face the challenges. Did he do that? No. Why do you want me to force my advice on you? Have you solicited my advice?
Thank you so much.
If the APC is confused and needs advice, we're willing to help them. But if they say they are all-knowing, infallible, and the results are showing that they are the worst, even worse than the terrible PDP, then let us look at them.
Thank you so much. Martin Zonovo, presidential candidate of the NCP in the 2015 general elections. Many thanks for talking to us on the program. Next on the program, the APC may have gotten victory on the change mantra, but it appears Nigerians are getting impatient for the delivery on its agenda. Is the APC change agenda still alive? We'll speak with the Buhari government spokesperson, the Minister of Information. That's next on the program. Join us again.